Hello, my name is Alexander Sager under David Weaver's Chandler Gilbert Community College Physics 112 course for the summer 2012. So this is my final weekly summary, and let's go over why I deserve my B for this course, which is my initial goal, and I've built a fancy checklist that I'll go through in this video. So one of the first things I have on my checklist is my completion of the interviews. I was able to meet with David on Skype for the first interview, in which we discussed the content and questions for the course at that point in the course. And then just a couple days ago I met with David, and for our second interview, and I just summed up everything I did in the course, talked to David, thanked him, and had him answer any questions I had remaining. So the next thing on the checklist I'm going to talk about is the team projects. My team consisted of Suleiman, Mason, Tom, and myself, and we were team science time. So the things we covered were the snap circuit projects. I completed all of mine. We put all of the ones we were responsible for in an Excel spreadsheet, and so we all had an even amount of work, but as you know, there were multiple projects in which it kind of layered on the next one. So say 289 was built on 288. That's just how it happened. So we all did a little bit more than we were responsible for, but you know, doesn't hurt. Next thing we worked on together was the project 1, the solar oven. I chose to do a parabolic oven using an umbrella, and I covered it in aluminum foil and put a pot of water right in the middle of it to see if I could boil water, and I was successful. And I was curious to see whether or not the proximity to the center of the parabolic oven had any effect on whether or not the water would boil, and it did, but it didn't, because it still boiled, but took a little bit more time. Yeah, I also played a little bit with the time of day that I did the experiment, so at 10 o'clock and at 3 o'clock in the hot June summer. Project 2 was a solar panel. I wanted to compare a store purchase solar panel with one that I built myself from solar panels I purchased from the store, but the ones that I will call my power flower, I built from multiple small solar panels that I ran in a circuit. I ran it in series, and it was actually reading double what the one that I bought at Radio Shack, which is about $10, was reading. And so the one at Radio Shack read about 6 volts, and the one that I built read 12 on a cloudy day. And then once it cleared up, there was a couple patches in the overcast, and it got over 13. So it was more than enough power to work the snap circuit AM radio project. In my team, we worked well. We were able to communicate via phone, text, email, Facebook, and I even met with one of my team members in person, despite the fact that we live so far from each other. So the next thing on the list, discussion board posts. So we had many of those during this summer, over the past 8 weeks. The main goal, I think, that David was trying to get us to do was just to build a dialogue, and I feel that I definitely took part in that dialogue. Week in, week out, I posted before Sunday night. That way I could get a good dialogue going and comment on what other people had to say in both their own posts as well as mine. So I checked it a reasonable amount of times per week, and like I said, I posted relatively early, and I tried to comment as much as possible on other people's threads. I tried to hit about 3 people, but sometimes people would post late, and I would already be done with my weekly summer. I'd be done with the work for the week, but I'd still go on there and post. And yeah, those are discussion board posts. So the next thing is on the list is the neat videos. We had 8 weeks, it was 1 per week. So like I said, I'm shooting for a B, and we were really only required to do 2 of each, but I went ahead and did all of them, I'm pretty sure. But so I thought that was an interesting project because it gave us a chance to kind of help each other and find a video on the YouTube that related to our topic each week. And one of the ones that I did that I thought was pretty cool related to the week where we talked about light and color. And I found on YouTube Bill Nye the Science Guy. I know we all watched that show way back in the day, and it really helped explain to me how the color thing works. And I hope that I saw that it helped other people. They watched it and they found it interesting. And it was a good throwback video for us to watch. And similar to the discussion board post, which kind of was a discussion board post in the videos, but I commented on others and watched the other people's videos. I'm a big YouTube fan anyway, so it's nice to see an educational side of the YouTube. So next thing on the list is the weekly summaries. Like I said, I have gone through 8 weeks in this summer. And we were expected to do a weekly summary every week, and I went through and did that. This is my final one. And yeah, so I went through and talked about each week what we did, the course content, and what I learned from it, listing everything from The Sims to the live scribes, to watching the videos, discussion board posts, doing the projects. Went through and summed it all up just like I am right now. So one of the things we worked on was the controversial debates. I chose to do mine on global warming. So I went through and posted on the agreeing part of it and the disagreeing part of it, and went through and also commented on all of the other topics that people chose to do for the controversial debates. My personal posts and my comments on other people's posts, all done. So yeah. So throughout the semester, I feel like there's a couple topics that I found particularly interesting. So what I called on my fancy list, physics knowledge. We went through electric circuits, electricity, energy, fundamental forces, light and color, geometric optics, and a couple of live scribe things David talked about. One of the ones I found interesting was relativity, and Einstein's theory of E equals mc squared. Went through and did all the Sims. Here's a couple snapshots of the screenshots, of the Sims that I did. One of my favorite ones was the John Travoltage, where I rubbed John Travolta's foot on the ground and had him touch a doorknob. That was pretty interesting. And aside from all the educational stuff, I feel that I did develop this summer personally. I had a little checklist with this, and I discussed it with David. And one of the biggest things I learned was time management. Between this online summer course, it was 8 weeks, very fast course. My internship over at Sky Harbor International Air Traffic Control Tower. I had work. I actually work in 2 capacities at ASU, which I plan concerts, and I also work for one of the buildings and setting up for different events and setting up the facilities. But moving back from college to home is definitely an interesting. It's an interesting task, being back with the family so much again, which is nice. And then my girlfriend moving to Costa Rica for a few months. And all this while taking a physics course, which can be quite demanding on the mind. It's been a crazy summer, I think, for everybody. It's just a group of people taking an online course because they're busy. And it's interesting how I manage my busy schedule around a bunch of other people who also had busy schedules. It's a bunch of busy people working together to complete tasks week in and week out, on all while trying to learn physics, and it's definitely tricky. I feel that I've done a few things well, and things I could have improved on in the course. Definitely could have asked a little more questions, I guess, but I mean directly to David. But it's the new age, so Google really helped me out. And I guess I could have taken a little more role of the time spent on each project. I just got caught up on the actual work that I was working on, and didn't actually take time to write down the amount of time I was spending on them. A couple things I did well, where I made the deadlines. If I did anything late, I think it was maybe one time, and I think I was pretty punctual with my work. Completed basically everything in the course to my utmost capability, minus some of the A student work, which included the Pinterest stuff. And I mean, honestly, I was shooting for B, so I just couldn't make the time for the Pinterest stuff and the other A work, but I did my work. I did a fair share of the stuff, and I worked hard on it, so there's definitely some merit there. I posted on everybody's as much as possible. I posted on my own and made comments on what other people thought about my work, And I feel that I've done a little more work than say for a B, but honestly a little less than say for an A. So I'm right in between a B and an A, so high B, I'm hoping. And I worked well with my team. We had no communication issues, I would say, despite our, we don't live close to each other, and it's an online course, and teamwork can be difficult in person, let alone in a situation where you can't talk to people. And I made all the interviews. So all in all, I feel I've done the work. Sims, snap circuits, discussion boards, meetings, I've done it all. So it's been a great course. I feel that I've learned a lot. I feel that I've gained somebody to ask questions to, David, and made some friends along the way. Thank you.